The EU is launching legal action against two of its member countries. Brussels says Poland and Hungary have broken EU law by discriminating against their own LGBT citizens. Let's talk now to our correspondent Penelope Liersch in Budapest. So, Penny, what's the latest?
Well, it's a new law in Hungary that has partly brought about this legal action. Last week, the anti-LGBTQ law was implemented and is now running in the country. It bans the promotion and any display of homosexuality or gender change to those under the age of 18. Essentially, this means schools cannot teach sexual education in the same way, and it means the media is restricted in representation of the LGBT community as well. Now, it's received huge amounts of criticism from European leaders, the majority condemning Hungary over this legislation and calling for there to be action taken against the government. We've seen it on a number of levels for breaching fundamental rights of the Union, for breaching human rights. There's also major criticism that this law conflates issues around pedophilia with issues in the LGBT community. So very strong criticism has been coming for a long time. And we've seen in Poland as well a similar situation where there have been areas set up in more than 100 regions that are branded as LGBT free. Now, the Commission is concerned that, of course, is discrimination as well, and that's why they've brought forward this legal action against both countries. Both of the governments will be receiving letters from the Commission. They'll have 2 months to respond to those adequately. If they don't, they could end up before the European Court of Justice, which is the highest court in the European Union, and that's probably what is likely to happen. So far, we've seen the Hungarian government very strongly defend this legislation. They knew that this legal challenge was coming today, and they said that it would still be in vain any attempt to force them to repeal this law, and that it's up to the rights of parents to decide who is educating their children and what they're being educated about. Poland has also previously denied that their country discriminates against anyone based on sexual orientation. Robin?
Well, meanwhile, Penny, there are not one but two court cases pitting the EU and Poland against each other. Tell us about those.
Well, this is a long-running power struggle as well. Basically, today, the European Court of Justice has ruled that judicial tribunals set up in Poland to discipline judges must not be allowed to continue to run, that they're infringing on the independence of the judiciary, and that's breaking the rules of the European Union. Now, previously, Poland has received this verdict before as well, but they've continued to run those tribunals. And yesterday, Poland held their own hearing to decide which law stood above the other, basically, finding that Polish constitutional law was above the decisions of the ECJ. That's certainly not how the European Court of Justice sees it, again enforcing today that their decision must be implemented and those rules must be followed, or further action may be taken against Poland. Potentially there could be funds withheld from the EU, but that is a very hard process to get off the ground. It hasn't happened yet, and it would require support from Hungary. So a very long way to go in this battle between these two countries and the powers in Brussels.
Penelope Liersch, many thanks.